this project you will want some green yarn, red yarn, your scissors, your hook, a needle and also a bell. So to begin, you want to take your red yarn, create a slip knot, and you're going to chain 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that is our chain of 17. Now you want to double crochet into the back loop of the second chain from hook. So yarn over, go into that back loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and pull through the last 2 loops. And you're going to repeat this into every chain along until you have 16 double crochets in total. Okay, so we've reached the end there. That is our 16 double crochets. What you want to do now is chain 1 and turn your work. And you're going to repeat 1 double crochet into every stitch along. Another 16 double crochets in total. So yarning over, going into that first stitch, turning over, pulling through again, and repeating that all the way along. The only difference with this round is into the last stitch. You only want to pull through the first 2 loops of your double crochet. So once you reach that last double crochet, you want to take your green, and you're going to pull through those last 2 loops with your green. And then you just want to chain 1 and turn your work. And then we're starting our first row in green. So to begin this row, we are going to place a double crochet decrease into the first 2 stitches. So starting like a normal double crochet, but only pulling through 2 and then going into the next stitch over, pulling through the first 2 and then we're pulling through the last 3 stitches. You're then going to do 1 double crochet into the next 12 stitches, and into the last 2 stitches you're going to place another double crochet decrease stitch, stopping when you get to the last 3 loops, as we will be pulling through those 3 loops with our red to begin the next row. Okay, so we're on to our last double crochet decrease, and we've just pulled through. We've got our last 3 loops on our hook. You're going to drop that green yarn, pick up your red, carry it along the back. You don't want to pull too tightly. And you're going to pull through those last 3 loops with your red. You're then just going to chain 1 and turn your work. For this row, you are just going to place 1 double crochet into every stitch along, 14 double crochets in total. The last stitch, again, you just want to pull through the first 2 loops as you will be joining back on with the green through the last 2 loops to begin the next row, and this will continue throughout. As we end a row, we pull through with the next row's colour. Okay, so we've reached the end. You want to pull through those last 2 loops with your green and chain 1. Turn your work. To begin this row, we're going to do a double crochet decrease stitch into the first 2 stitches. And then you're going to place 1 double crochet into the next 10 stitches before finishing off again with a double crochet decrease stitch into the last 2 stitches. Remembering to not pull through those last 3 loops on this round with the green, instead pulling through with the red. Okay, so at the last 3 loops, you want to grab your red yarn and pull through with your red. You're then just going to want to chain 1 and turn your work. And for this row, you're going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch along, so 12 double crochets in total. Remembering into the last stitch, you're only going to pull through the first 2 loops. Through the last 2 loops, you're going to pull your green yarn. So pulling through those last 2 loops with our green, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and into the first 2 stitches, we're going in with a double crochet decrease. Okay, there's our first double crochet decrease. You're then going to do 1 double crochet into the next 8 stitches. Finishing off into the last 2 stitches with a final double crochet decrease stitch, not pulling through those last 3 loops with the green, instead pulling through with the red. And we're going to pull through those last 3 loops with our red, this time bringing the red yarn across the front. So pulling through, and then you want to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. Into the first 2 stitches, we're going to do a double crochet decrease stitch. And then you're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 6 stitches before finishing off again with a double crochet decrease stitch into the last 2 stitches. Remembering not to pull through the last 3 loops with the red, but instead with the green. So dropping our red, picking up our green, pulling across the front again. Pulling through and chaining 1, turning our work, and we're going to place 1 double crochet into every stitch along in this row. That's 8 double crochet in total. Remembering to pull through the last 2 loops of our last double crochet with the red yarn instead of the green. Going into our last double crochet now, and we're going to drop that green yarn, take our red across the front, and pulling through those last 2 loops with our red. So then I'm going to chain 1 and turn our work. Going to go into those first 2 loops with a double crochet decrease stitch. And then into the next 4 stitches, we're going to do 1 double crochet in each, before finishing off into the last 2 stitches with 1 double crochet decrease again. taking our green, pulling through those last 3 loops, going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to go into the first 2 loops with a double crochet decrease, into the next 2 stitches with 1 double crochet, and into those last 2 stitches I'm going to go back in with a double crochet decrease stitch, pulling through those last 3 loops with our red and doing 1 chain before turning. Into the first 2 loops we're going to do a double crochet decrease, and into the last 2 loops we're going to do a double crochet decrease, pulling through those last 3 loops with our green, chaining 1, turning our work, and going into those last 2 stitches for a final double crochet decrease. You're going to chain 1, pull up your yarn and cut yourself free. With the bell on the top, all I did was attach my needle to my top tail end and put that through the loop on the back of the bell, and all I'm going to do now is weave in those ends, and that's going to hold that on there nice and tight, and then you can stitch in your other tail ends, and I'll meet you back for the next step. Okay, so for the next step you just want to take a length of yarn. I'm taking red, but you could also take green. I'm attaching that to my needle, and I'm going to stitch it across that length to hold down the top. I'm only going to catch it on the parts that are red, so that it isn't visible on the green parts. Just don't pull through the tail end all the way. Moving across to the next red section. On the back, I'm just going to weave my end across to the other end. I'm going to tie those 2 ends together. Cut off the excess length of yarn. Put both those ends through my needle before weaving those in as well. And then cutting off the excess of those 2 tails. And that is our finished elf hat. For the Santa hat, to create the pom-pom, I'm just taking a fork and some white yarn. You want to cut yourself a small piece of the white yarn and lay this between the centre prongs of the fork. And then all you want to do is wrap yourself a nice length of the yarn around the fork. And then cut off your yarn, and with the small piece that we had through the centre prongs, you're going to tie those 2 ends together to hold that length in place. And you want to make sure this is nice and tight, otherwise those strands are going to come out once you've taken this off the fork. You can then slide that off the fork and cut through those loops. And you can then just trim up your pom-pom to make it nice and neat. I believe one of the long lengths of yarn, you can then attach that to the hat with that length if you would like. You could also just hot glue this to your hat. I prefer to stitch it on. It feels a little bit more secure to me. So I'm just going to take my needle and attach this to the hat. I should have left myself a longer tail end. It would have made stitching this on so much easier. Just put time on and then weave in those ends. And there you go, there is our Santa hat as well.